Have you ever wondered how some people seem to read others' minds so effortlessly? It's not magic, it's a psychological secret. In today's video, we're going to uncover that very secret. If you want to learn how, stay with us right until the end. And if you enjoy the journey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Have you ever sat in a job interview desperately trying to figure out what the hiring manager is really thinking behind their polite smile? Have you ever been on a first date, wondering if the person across from you is genuinely interested or just being courteous? Or have you ever been in a negotiation, wishing you had a secret advantage to know what the other side truly wants? What if I told you that you don't need psychic powers to gain that advantage? What if I said that the ability to understand people's true thoughts and feelings isn't a superpower, but a skill you can learn? And what if this skill was based on decades of proven psychological research? Forget the crystal balls and the tarot cards, because in this video, we are diving deep into the science of human behavior to reveal 3 powerful psychological techniques that will get you closer to reading anyone's mind than you ever thought possible. The first secret to understanding what's truly going on inside someone's head is to stop listening to what they say and start watching what their face does. Specifically, you need to learn the language of microexpressions. These are incredibly fast, involuntary facial expressions that flash across a person's face in less than a quarter of a second, revealing their genuine, unfiltered emotion before their conscious brain has a chance to hide it. They were first studied in depth by the world-renowned psychologist, Dr. Paul Ekman, who proved that these microexpressions are universal across all cultures. A man in London will show the same flash of disgust as a woman in Tokyo, or a child in a remote Amazonian tribe. This is because they are hardwired into our brains, a relic of our evolutionary past, when quickly recognizing a threat or an opportunity was a matter of life and death. So while someone might be telling you, "That's a great idea," their face could betray them with a fleeting flash of contempt, a one-sided lift of the lip, telling you instantly that they think your idea is worthless. Your job, then, is not to be a mind reader, but to become an expert detective of the face, spotting the clues that everyone else misses. Let's paint a picture. You're a manager, and you've just told an employee that their project deadline is being moved up by a week. Verbally, they respond with, "No problem at all. I can handle it," but for a split second, you see their eyebrows pull up and together, and their eyelids raise, a universal microexpression of fear. That tiny, fleeting movement is the truth. It's the raw, unfiltered panic that their conscious brain is trying desperately to suppress with polite words. They are not fine with it. They are terrified about the new deadline, and now you have information that is far more valuable than their spoken words. To start spotting these, you need to know what to look for, as there are 7 universal emotions to master: happiness, sadness, fear, anger, surprise, disgust, and contempt. For sadness, look for the inner corners of the eyebrows being drawn up, and for anger, watch for the eyebrows being lowered and drawn together with narrowed eyes. Disgust is often shown by a wrinkled nose and a raised upper lip, while contempt, a particularly powerful clue, is almost always a one-sided smirk or a lift of the corner of the mouth. Practice by watching interviews on TV with the sound off, training your eyes to catch these flashes of truth that last only a fraction of a second, and you'll be amazed at what you start to see. Transition music, new section begins. Our second technique moves beyond the face and teaches you to analyze the entire person. It's a method used by FBI interrogators and professional poker players alike, and it's called establishing a baseline and spotting deviation. A person's baseline is their normal, relaxed pattern of behavior. It's how they act when they feel comfortable and are under no stress. Some people are naturally fidgety, some people naturally avoid eye contact, and some people naturally talk with their hands. These individual behaviors, in isolation, mean absolutely nothing. And the biggest mistake amateurs make is looking for a single tell, like a nervous twitch, and assuming it means deception. The real secret is to first figure out what's normal for that person, and then watch for any significant changes or deviations from that norm when a more difficult or sensitive topic is introduced. It is the change in behavior, not the behavior itself, that serves as a massive red flag that something is going on beneath the surface. Here's how it works in the real world. You're having a casual conversation with a friend, and you want to know if they're happy in their new relationship. First, you establish their baseline, asking them simple, non-threatening questions like what they did over the weekend, or what they think of a new film. You observe their posture, their tone of voice, their level of eye contact, and how much they gesture when they're relaxed and telling the truth. Let's say your friend is usually very animated. They lean forward when they talk and use T, their hands to tell stories, and this is their baseline. Then you introduce the new topic, asking, "So, how are things really going with Michael?" And suddenly, the animation stops. They lean back slightly, their hands clasped together in their lap, and their vocal tone becomes a little flatter, and they might even break eye contact for the first time in the conversation. This cluster of changes is the deviation. It's a flashing neon sign that your question has caused them internal stress or discomfort. It doesn't automatically mean they're lying, but it does mean their emotional state has shifted dramatically, and the topic is far more complicated than they're letting on. A clue you would have completely missed without first establishing their baseline? Transition music, final technique, is perhaps the most powerful of all, because it exposes the conflict between our conscious words and our unconscious feelings, a concept psychologists call congruence. In simple terms, congruence is when a person's words, tone of voice, and body language are all telling the same story, and when someone is being genuine and truthful, their communication is almost always congruent. Incongruence, on the other hand, is when there is a mismatch between these channels, and this is where you find the unvarnished truth. The unbreakable rule is this: when the words and the body language are in conflict, the body language is almost always telling the truth, because it is much harder to consciously control our nonverbal signals. Imagine asking a colleague if they can help you with an urgent task, and they say, "Of course, I'd be happy to." But as they say it, they give a very slight, almost imperceptible shake of their head. That tiny no gesture, an unconscious signal from their brain, completely negates their polite yes and tells you they actually feel resentful or burdened by your request. This happens constantly, and once you start looking for it, you'll see it everywhere. A person says, "I'm so excited for you," in a flat, monotone voice. Or someone says, "It wasn't a problem," while tightly clenching their fists. Their bodies are leaking the truth, shouting what their mouths are only whispering. And your job is to pay attention to the loudest signal. Look for directional cues, as the feet in particular are incredibly honest, because most people forget to manage them. If you're talking to someone and their words are engaged, but their feet and torso are pointed towards the door, their brain has already decided it wants to leave the conversation. Also, watch for barrier signals. When a person suddenly crosses their arms, puts their bag on their lap, or even picks up a coffee mug to hold in front of their chest, they are unconsciously creating a barrier. This is often a sign that they feel defensive, uncomfortable, or are closed off to what you're saying, regardless of how agreeable their words may sound. So, there you have it. 3 powerful techniques to look behind the mask people wear. Analyze microexpressions for flashes of true emotion. Establish a baseline to spot behavioral deviations. And look for incongruence between words and body language. But before you go out into the world and start analyzing everyone you meet, a final, crucial word of caution must be given. These techniques are not a foolproof lie detector, and they should never be used to make definitive judgments about another person. The goal of mind reading should not be manipulation or accusation, but empathy and understanding, as seeing a flash of fear or a cluster of stress signals should prompt you to ask, "Is everything okay?" Not to shout, "Aha, you're lying." Use this knowledge to become a better friend, a more perceptive partner, and a more effective communicator. And use it to understand the unspoken needs and fears of those around you. The world is a noisy place, filled with people who are struggling to say what they truly mean. But if you learn to listen to the silent language they're all speaking, you'll be able to connect with them on a level you never thought possible.